This message is just for you. You are good enough. This is the episode for you. If we're really going to make this work, we have to be prepared to meet ourselves where we're at right now. We have to avoid the temptation to create plans and routines around the language learner we wish we were and get really serious about teaching the person that we actually are. Hi, I'm Emily. This is the Language Confidence Project, and today I'm just popping in to remind you that if we are going to build a truly sustainable language journey for ourselves, we need to make sure that the plans we build are actually going to work for us. When we set about making those plans and setting those goals and those targets, we have to meet ourselves where we're at right now. Because so many of us, and we don't always know we're doing it, when we embark on a new journey, we start by thinking about where we want to be, whatever our goal is, and we feel like we have to contort ourselves into some ideal version of ourselves who'll be worthy of that goal and teach that. But in reality, the vast majority of the time, that won't work. Because it's like trying to force your brain to run on an incompatible software. Even if we started from the assumption that this shiny new system that you'd found was perfect, once you tried to run it on your machine, on your brain, your life, you'd find that it would start to stutter. Why? Because it would meet old patterns, it would meet self-limiting beliefs, and because there would be incessant pop-ups in the form of whatever you do to distract yourself. And because you'd shut it off all the time, so you could run other software that actually makes you happier. And so the starting point, whenever we want to learn something new or overhaul an existing routine, is to be honest about who we are and what our current circumstances look like. And then we know that we're creating a pathway for ourselves that's actually going to align with all of us, our whole self, and not just the part of us who has great ambitions to speak this language. And I often think of this process as like making an inventory, just like in a video game. And when we look at what we have in our inventory, we have to be really careful just to observe it, not to judge it. In video games, we do that naturally. We're so used to our inventories being in a constant state of flux. Our swords break, we have to upgrade our armor, we have different amounts of food or health potions at different times, and we're just okay with that. We don't spend days mourning the loss of our perfect bow and arrow because we know that there are other things that probably would work just as well. And if not, we might come across another one of those bows and arrows later. And the same is true of your language learning inventory. It doesn't matter that you were a powerhouse of vocabulary learning efficiency 10 years ago at university. It doesn't matter what you could do last year or before you had children. You can be successful in learning your language from so many starting points and with so many different combinations of tools. So we're not looking at these things to feel sad. We're just looking for the things that we need to take into account because your methods and your goals are going to be different in different circumstances. So while you're looking at where you're at right now, if you notice that you have less money to dedicate to your language learning than the last time you were studying, note it down. But plainly, unemotionally, as simply as you can. If you have more responsibilities this time round, so maybe you've got less headspace, write that down. But it's not all about accounting for your losses. A lot of the time, I worry that people's first thought when they hear meet yourself where you're at is to look at what's going on for them right now and think, how am I less equipped now to deal with my language learning than before? Or what concessions am I going to need to make? What new obstacles are standing in the way? But that's only half the story. Because the next thing to look at, which is equally important, is, but what's better than before? And it could be all sorts of things. Maybe you've got a quiet workspace now, whereas you didn't the last time. Maybe it's about the self-knowledge that you've gained, how you study best, what motivates you. Maybe it's simply a case that last time you studied a language, you did it because you had to. Maybe your school told you you'd got no choice, whereas now you've got a real interest in this language. Maybe you've got more time. Maybe you've met a wonderful supportive community of other language learners, or you've found apps or methods that actually really suit you. So in short, meet yourself where you're at is not a euphemism for embrace mediocrity, have a terrible time looking at how life's worse than it was before, or accept and tolerate the fact that this will be harder than last time, because it's none of those things. It just means observe with an open mind what's different from last time. Look at the changes in your health, your well-being, your environment, your energy constraints. Note them down, work with them, don't judge them. But then also look at all the skills and experience that you can bring this time round that you didn't have before. Look at your support network, your community, and all the resources that are available right now that maybe didn't exist or that you didn't know about before. Think about all the interests that you've discovered and the things that make you happy that you can bring in to your language learning. And one final reminder, know that this isn't fixed. It's just a snapshot of your life right now. Once you've laid out a map of the landscape that you're working in right now, the whole process becomes so much easier. Because you won't then make plans that, with the best will in the world, you'll be too tired to keep. You won't sign up to programs that promise the world, but deep down, you know that they recreate past learning experiences that you hated. And even if you wish that things were the way they were before, you'll also then have the opportunity to see what new things, what new tools, and what new experiences have come in their place that can genuinely help you out. So meet yourself where you're at, language learners. You have so much to work with as your current self in your current circumstances, and you really can make this work. And if you have any questions about how you might do that, leave them in the comments below, and I'm sure other people will have some ideas for you. And if you would like to support my work and meet some fantastic people along the way, I'd love to invite you to take a look at my Patreon community. I offer a monthly meetup to meet like-minded language learners and just chat about our language and productivity journeys. You can co-work and co-study with us every single week. And if you'd like some personalized advice, there's also a monthly Q&A where I will give you a really detailed response tailored just to you. Our next meetup is Tuesday, the 25th of June. That's next Tuesday, and I would love to see you there. My Patreon is in the description below, and just take a look. Be kind to yourselves, language learners. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you back here tomorrow.